Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Bell. Welcome to City Connection, a quick look at city happenings so you can dive deeper into what's going on in your city, stay informed and connected. In our first story, statistics show the state of California has the largest proportion of people living without shelter in the country, and Santa Barbara is not immune to the challenges of addressing this humanitarian crisis. Santa Barbara police officers say the issue here is consistent with other California cities, but the collaboration efforts and partnerships in action on the Central Coast have other communities taking note.
The homeless crisis is a delicate issue that demands involvement of both the public and private sectors. For the Santa Barbara Police Department, the enforcement posture primarily centers around outreach.
We're partners with many community-based organizations. Our officers do everything they can to try to be there for everybody in every way. It's a difficult societal question, but hear me clearly, we're here to enforce legal laws and standards in that respect, and the officers do that to the best of their ability every day.
Advocates estimate that there are between 1,600 and 1,700 people experiencing homelessness in Santa Barbara County.
35% of all homeless individuals in Santa Barbara County are living in their vehicles.
The vehicular homeless population represents a group facing unique circumstances, dealing with very specific financial needs.
They often are people who are without housing for the first time, and they are afraid of going to a shelter, or they hold a job and they're unable to meet the curfews that are consistent with being at a shelter, or they have a pet, or they want to keep their family together, and so they decide to essentially car camp and hope that they will transition quickly back into housing.
In 2014, an appeals court in Los Angeles found a municipal code similar to a law on the books in Santa Barbara banning car habitation to be illegal.
There are certain rules that we still enforce, such as parking enforcement rules or littering or unlawful dumping of waste, but primarily when it comes to somebody living in their vehicle, we try and provide them different resources that we have available in our community to provide them more consistent and safer areas for them to park.
The police department, oftentimes we get that initial call for service, but what we've learned over the years is that we're somewhat limited in what our response can be, and sometimes we're not the best tool for that job, so to speak. And so our ability to leverage all these other partners within our community who focus in certain areas, can provide resources, helps us alleviate the issue, I think, in the short term, but also really develop a long-term strategy for how to mitigate some of the issues that come up when we're dealing with homelessness, vehicular or otherwise.
And when you're talking about resources and community partnerships pertaining to the issue, the Safe Parking program at New Beginnings is the gold standard in Santa Barbara and beyond.
We are considered the original Safe Parking program. We have the only manual that helps people begin a program. And so we receive requests weekly from communities across the country who are looking for technical assistance in setting up their own program. For example, we have a group coming from New York at the end of October to get a 3-day training in terms of how to open their own program.
Utilizing private and public parking lots around the city that require a permit for somebody to reside in their vehicle.
It provides them a consistent area to be in close proximity of other resources, and it helps them basically not get inundated with unnecessary contact from law enforcement. Our partnership with them really helps the Santa Barbara Police Department reduce the number of calls for service for non-criminal type nature and allows officers to spend more time on other investigations.
New Beginnings Executive Director stresses that this is not an encampment or alternative lifestyle.
It is simply an alternative to shelter, while at a time while people are in a really critical place. And we are able to provide the case management, the financial resources, and the quick interventions that are necessary to help people transition as quickly as possible out of that situation.
As one of many parts of the solution, a spoke in the societal wheel, police say they have an obligation to public safety, and that includes everybody.
What we've really seen over the last few years is just an increased ability to solve these issues from kind of a collaborative standpoint, as opposed to just doing it from silos and where we work, you know, police department versus New Beginnings versus, we're all collectively working together to help solve these issues. And we all have a role to play in that.
If you want to know more about the New Beginnings Safe Parking Program, visit the website on your screen. The wastewater collection system is designed to carry wastewater from our toilets, sinks, and showers via private sewer lateral pipes to the city's sewer mains. The city owns and maintains 257 miles of sewer mains, which deliver wastewater to El Estero Water Resource Center, where it is treated. In our next story, we'll learn about one way the city monitors the system and keeps it working in top condition.
Santa Barbara's wastewater department has a new asset in their fleet of vehicles. The city's all-new CCTV truck replaces an older model and brings many upgrades and new features in the areas of convenience and technology for the important job of keeping city sewer mains functioning.
This is our primary tool that's used by our CCTV inspection staff, which are responsible for routine assessments using an industry standard pipeline assessment certification program, PACP. The field crew uses the equipment by deploying a robotic camera. The most common defects observed during operations are breaks, fractures, cracks, roots.
The modularity of the new camera allows various components to be hot swapped and replaced easily if broken, and to easily adapt the camera to fit different diameter pipes.
The next thing that we can go down the row is a quick release of the camera head. The quick release is you twist this automatically pops out. That's the camera head.
With the quick swapping wheels and toolless design, this camera body pulls itself through any pipe in 6-wheel drive.
There's a free wheel in this, so if we want to bring it back with the reel, we would bring it back with the reel. It's going to clutch itself out. So what it does is it takes it out of gear and we're able to just pull it out. Prior, we weren't even able to pull it out.
Within the truck itself is an office with a camera control station where the operator uses a set of joysticks to examine the condition of the pipes. Use of the PACP software is to document what the operator sees below. An operator begins by checking the daily tasks assigned by the planner.
The biggest thing for a CCTV camera operator are spider webs. They'll get on the lens, block the view. So what's good is we go down, we go forward, press the center button, brings us back up. We're still in the webs. We're going to go down again. And at the same time, when we're going forward, it's giving us a counter. So it's indicating how far we're in. We can go real slow for some of us operators, which is really nice to have, which we didn't have prior, is we can travel up on and not touch anything, which is pretty nice. So as soon as I press this button to go forward, it's going forward automatically. As soon as I want to stop, I can just hit that top button. If I want to look into a lateral, this is the joystick I use. I press up, rotate it to the left. I can look at a lateral. If we go a little bit forward, we can indicate from the rear camera. Push rear camera. You can see my rear camera. I can back up, and at the same time, it's pulling the cable back. And my partner and I can see that I'm back at the manhole.
What's cool about this new van is that we can go ahead and operate this camera in the back. So communicating with our partner in the front, on the old camera, we would have to have him feed the camera in. You know, we had to communicate more, where over here you just can go ahead and set it yourself.
Go back to here.
The data that is collected is put into our IT Pipes CCTV database, and which gives the pipe segment a overall rating score for structural maintenance and overall condition rating. And with that data, myself, the planner scheduler, I'll go ahead and review that for quality, and I use that data for future maintenance, structural, and capital improvement projects.
For more information on the El Estero Water Resource Center, visit santabarbaraca.gov/El Estero. Thousand Steps, an historic beach access stairway on the Mesa, has reopened after a 6-month closure. During that time, safety repairs and improvements were made to the location, which serves as one of 3 public beach access stairways in the city.
In 1925, the steps were completed by Sam Hunter. And during the process, he said he had underestimated how difficult the steps were going to be to construct. He said it was less like constructing 150 steps and more like 1,000.
The popular Thousand Steps beach access, which actually has 155 steps, was once named Camino al Mar. The steps are well used by the public, but were in need of improvements and repairs since being built almost 100 years ago. Repair of this critical beach access has been a high priority of the Parks and Recreation Department and surrounding neighborhood for many years.
Very slippery, lots of water intrusion on the stairs. Because they were constructed so long ago, there was no handrail. So we've actually needed to rehabilitate those stairs for at least 20 years.
The construction focused on safety and restoration. Hydroseeding was used to restore the native plants in the surrounding areas. They've also added handrails, new signs, a bicycle rack on top of the bluff, and created proper draining of the mid-stairway.
We've created a trench drain that wraps around the back of the landing that will capture all that water that was coming down those sets of stairs and putting it into the trough where it's supposed to be. And right now it's 80% drier than it has been.
Another important part of the project was adding 7 steps to the bottom of the stairway at the beach.
The last step during the winter scour season could be as much as 3 feet above the actual beach. So the need to actually rebuild that next set of stairs, as well as extend the stairs further into the sand, will make it much more safer.
Remember, it's always a good idea to check the tide schedule before you go down to Thousand Steps. Well, Santa Barbara's 19th annual Harbor and Seafood Festival took place on October 15th. This free festival had activities and food for all. An estimated 10,000 people showed up to help support our local fishing fleet, enjoying freshly caught seafood found in the Santa Barbara Channel. Santa Barbara is a working harbor that contributes at least $30 million annually to the local economy. The event included an abundance of seafood such as lobsters, uni, seafood paella, albacore tuna, and shrimp, all prepared right on the spot. There was also live music and vendors with clothing boutiques and accessories. For the little ones, there were touch tanks, free boat rides, and maritime education. Spencer the Gardener and Cornerstone were 2 of the live bands that kept the good vibes going all day. Spencer the Gardener has been rocking around the area for over 2 decades, while Cornerstone brought its reggae beach tunes to the main stage. What better way to kick off lobster season than to get a fresh lobster caught right here in the channel? This festival helps to support so many in the community. It helps youth who have a passion for culinary arts by teaching them how to prepare and work at food booths. It also helps support the Santa Barbara Waterfront Department, Commercial Fishermen of Santa Barbara, and the Santa Barbara Harbor Merchants Association. Look for the 20th Annual Harbor and Seafood Festival next October. Well, that does it for this edition of City Connection. Stay in the know and follow the city on our social platforms. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter, City News in Brief. Remember, we're always there for you online at santabarbaraca.gov. Thanks for watching. See you next time.